So let us continue with FM IRR. So IRR, we are continuing with the IRR. We did the first one. So the first one was in the case of annuity. So in the case of irregular cash flow, irregular cash flows. So we did that one. So in the case where we have irregular cash flows or unequal, or you can call them the unequal cash flows. Unequal cash flow. We did it in our previous class. So that one I'm going to ignore. Number B. So tulishafanya. So this one is a tick. We did it. We can go to number B. In the case of annuity cash flow. In case of annuity cash flows. Now remember, we talk about annuity means the cash flows are the same from one year to another, but this one is for specific period. For specific period. So illustration. So we do an illustration here. Illustration. Now this is our illustration. So we have the project. You have the project A, B, and C. Initial investment. Initial investment. We have our this one is 10,000 for A, 20,000 for B, 15,000. Then annual cash flow. Annual cash flows. Annual cash flows. Kuna 21, 19, 22, 54, 27.84. We have that 240. Then we have years. Call them the economic life, or the useful life. Economic life. The first one is 7 years, 6 years, the 5 years. So this one is in years. So required compute IRR. So required, you are supposed to compute IRR. So we start with the first one. We start with project A. We start with project A. Now the formula for IRR in this case itakuwa ni IRR equals to the present value cash outflow over annuity, or the annual cash flow. The same as saying present value supposed to be present value cash outflow. Present value cash outflow over annual cash flow. Annual cash flow. Now we can do it now. So IRR for project A itakuwa ni 10,000. You divide it with 2119.2. 2119.2 itakuwa ngapi? 10,000 divided by the 2119.2. That is equal to, put it in 4 decimal place, 4.718718.8. Now read this one inside from the table. Read from inside the table. So you read it from inside the table to get the value of the IRR value. So I want to pick my table. Here it is. So because this one is an annuity, we use the table for annuity. So ukienda kwa table yako, you locate the years first. Kitu ya kwanza you locate is the year. So ukienda kwa table inakaa hivi, you have the period. So we have 1, 2, blah blah blah, mpaka 7. So our period is 7 because project A the cash flow was 7. Now ukisha locate the period unaenda until you get this figure 4.7188. So unaenda hapo kwa 7, then unaenda kwa hiyo line mpaka upate 4.7188. 4.7 188. So enda kwa table upate hiyo 4. So this is supposed to be 21. Nimeweka vibaya. Actually, correct this one. This one is supposed to be 2191. 2191.2. So hapa ni 2191.2. 2191.2. So we divide again. So 10,000 divided by 2191.2. Napata 4.5. Supposed to be 4.5. 56.37. So 56.37. 4.56.37. Now once you get this one, kwa table unaenda kwa hiyo table unalocate your figure. So unaanza na project A. Project A ni 7 years. So unaenda kwa your table, you go up to the 7 period, 7 years. Then unaenda unafuata hiyo line mpaka upate hii figure. Penye iko 4.5637. So ukishapata then unarudi juu. Unaangalia iko at which rate. So unaangalia the percentage. So that rate is the IRR. That rate becomes your IRR. So in this case, if I use my table kwa 7 nikienda napata 4.563 iko hapo 638. So just one decimal point. That one is okay. So nikipata juu napata ni 12%. So iko under 12%. So your IRR is 12%. The IRR is 12%. So the IRR is 12%. So we go to the next one. 20,000 divided by the project B. Project B itakuwa ni 20,000 divided by the 5427.84. So we do that one. So 20,000 divided by the 5427.84. Minapata 3.684 6847. Now unaenda kwa table. So tuko namba B. Unaenda kwa year 6. So unaenda kwa year 6, then you move until you get that factor. So unakuja hapa kwa 6. So unakuja kwa 6, then you move, unatafuta 3.66847. 68 iko under 16%. So this one is under 16%. So ukienda kwa table, uende kwa period 6, then uende kwa figure yenye imeandikwa 3.6847. Then upande juu utaona ni 13%. Utaona ni 13. Not 13. It is not 13, it is 16%. Yes, 16%. It's supposed to be 16%. Meaning the IRR for this project B is 16%. So the IRR for that project is 16%. Then we do the last one. The last one, it is a bit different. Project C. So tunasema 15,000 over 3240. So ni ngapi? So 15,000 divided by the 3240, which is 4.66296. Now you go to unaenda kwa table C, unaenda kwa year 5. You go to year 5. unaangalia. So tunaenda kwa period 5, then you try to locate 4.6. So let us continue. So we move on. So to get the value, so you locate this figure from the table. So you locate this figure from the table from inside. Now if we go to our table, we don't have that figure. So if we go to the table, it is clear we don't have any figure close to that one. It is clear we don't have any figure close to that one, but we have this. But this figure lies between. So project C, 5 years. It is 5 years. So let me extend a bit. 4.6, 46, 296. Now this figure, we don't have the rate. If you go to the table, we don't have the rate. Now in that case, we need to check where does it lie. So where does it lie? It lies between 2 points. So if we go to year 5 to locate this figure, period 5, we can see that that figure lies between. It is between 4.7 135, which the figure is 2%, and the next one is 3%, which is 4.5 797. So it lies between the two figures. So it lies between the two figures. So iko hapo katikati. Now in this case, we cannot get IRR using this format that we have been doing for project A and project B. And in that case now, we are going to use another formula. In the case where our figure lies between two values, we don't have the exact value from the table. So we are going to use another formula. So, so when you divide the cost with the cash flow, you shall get 4.6926. And when you go to your table, you shall realize that there's no such kind of a figure in the table. So remember you are in project C, year 5. So kwa year 5 annuity table, we don't have this figure, but this figure lies between two figures. The one for 3% and the one for 2%. For 2% is 4.7135, and the other one is 4.5797. So it lies between those two figures. Now how do we get now IRR? Remember IRR is supposed to be in percentage. So IRR, so on the left side of our equation represent the percentage part. So this one represents percentage. While on the other side represent the values from the table. Represent the values that you obtain from the table. Now how do we get the IRR? Now let's start with the percentage. So IRR, which is in form of percentage, minus the lower limit in percentage. So the lower limit in percentage is 2%. Over upper limit in the form of percentage is 3%. So 3% minus the lower limit, which is 2%, must be equal now to the value. So IRR in value, we are looking for this value, which is 4.6296 minus the lower limit. Now the lower limit is lower than this one, which is 4.5 797 over upper limit in form of value, upper limit in the 4.7135 minus lower limit, which is 4.5 4.797. So find IRR. So find IRR. Now we shall make use of our calculator. We are going to make use of our calculator. Let us make use of our calculator. So tutasema, so let us find the other side first. 4.6296, 4.6296 minus 4.5797, which is saying 0.0499 is equal, divided by 4.7135 minus 4.5797, 0.1338. So IRR minus 2% divided by the 1%. So we can get out the figure. So hii itakuwa kusema IRR minus 2% over 1% is equals to, so 0.0499 divided by answer, which is 0.3729. I think now we can get IRR. I think now we can get IRR. So how do we get the final IRR? We need to cross multiply now. So tutasema IRR minus 2% is equals to, now we multiply with 1% on the other side so that we remove the 1% hapa chini. So itakuwa ni 1 times 1 times answer, which itakuwa ni 0.3729. So kumaanisha our IRR itakuwa ni 2 plus answer, itakuwa ni 2.3729, or that is it, 2%. So that is IRR. So the IRR for that question is 2%. IRR is 2%. Unajua nimefanya makosa, there's a small error nimefanya. This one is the upper limit. Which one is upper limit in that case? This one is the upper limit, this side. Upper limit, this one is lower limit. So kumaanisha hapa kuna mahali nimefanya makosa. So IRR minus 2, that one is correct, and then 3 upper minus lower, that's correct. Then this one IRR ni 4.6296 minus lower limit ni 4.7135, 4.7135. Yes, hapa tumefanya makosa. So this is the lower limit. On the other side 4.7135 haya. Then this one is upper limit. Upper limit ni 4.5797 minus lower limit, which is 4.7135. So hapo tumefanya makosa kidogo, so let us correct. Tutasema ni 4.6296 minus 4.7135. So this one is minus 0.0839, then 4.5797 minus 4.7135, which is minus 0.1338. So tukidivide hapo, so 0.0839, so minus 0.0839 divided by minus 0.1338, inatupatia ni 0.6270. Kumaanisha hapa ni 0.6270. So we add, so tunapeleka tu on the other side, So itakuwa 2 plus 0.6270. Just I must say 2.627%. That is the actual IRR for that project. So that is in the case of annuity cash flow. So that is the case for annuity cash flow. We go to the next one. In the case of 1 year project. In the case of 1 year project. In the case of 1 year project. So in the case of 1 year project, so number C, in the case of 1 year project, so IRR is given as follows. So in the case of 1 year project, IRR is equals to future value over present value cash outflow minus 1. So let us do an example. So what would be the solution for that? So consider one project whose initial investment is 1 million and it is expected to generate a cash flow of 125, supposed to be 125 million. 125. So consider a project which has an initial investment of, this is supposed to be 100 million. 100 million. So consider a project whose investment is Kenya shillings 100 million. 100 million. The project is expected to generate a cash flow of 125 million at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, kumaanisha it is only for 1 year project. So IRR will be equal to, so IRR. Now future value is what we expect in the future. So we expect to receive 125 million over the present value cash outflow is the cost of investment, which is 100 minus 1. So that will give us the IRR. As easy as ABC. So itakuwa ni ngapi? So ni 125 divided by 100 minus 1, which is 0.25. Which is 0.25 or 25%. So that is the value. That is the value of IRR. So that is the case of 1 year project. Let's go to the last one. In the case of annuity cash flow until infinity. The last one. In the case of annuity cash flow until infinity. Until infinity. Now in that case, IRR will be equal to the annuity divided with the present value cash outflow. Present value cash outflow. And that one will be our last illustration concerning IRR. So let us do it. Illustration. So let us do that one. Now in this case, consider a project with an initial investment of 250 million. It is expected to generate a cash flow of 45 million until infinity. Now you are required to calculate IRR. So IRR, the formula is equal to annuity. So our annuity is our 45 million, which we expect to receive it. So it will be the same. So today we are receiving 45 million. Next year 45, the other year, until infinity. You divide it with the cost of investment, which is 250, which will give us how much? So that one is 45 divided by 250, which is 0.18. 0.18 or 18%. So that one marks the end of IRR from our previous class. So that one marks the end of IRR from our previous class. So let us introduce now capital rationing. Let us introduce capital rationing. And remember capital rationing, we shall use the concept of PI. We shall use the concept of PI. So capital rationing. So when you talk about capital rationing, it refers to a situation where there is scarcity or limitation of investment fund to undertake all the viable projects. So in case where we have uh, insufficient fund to undertake all the viable projects, then that one bring us to the concept of capital rationing. That will bring us to the concept of capital rationing. So situation where we don't have enough money to undertake all the viable project, capital rationing. So situation where we don't have sufficient money to undertake all the viable projects, So capital rationing, and we say refer to a situation where there is sufficient of funds to undertake all the viable projects. So as you say, refers to a situation where there is insufficiency, where there is insufficiency of funds to undertake all the viable projects, project. So a situation where the company does not have enough money to undertake all the viable projects. Under capital rationing, PI is more suitable. To rank the projects according to their profitability. So in that case, PI is most applicable. So when we are talking about capital rationing, then PI is most applicable. Categories. Let's talk about categories. Categories number 1. Let's talk about soft capital rationing. And when we talk about soft capital rationing, I refer to the sufficient of capital cost by the factor within the control of the management. So it refers to lack of funds stroke insufficiency of funds caused by factors within control of the management, i.e. reluctance of management to borrow. So the management can borrow money from a bank or whichever form. They have the power to borrow, but they don't want to borrow. And in that case, they end up not having enough money. So in that case, we call it soft capital rationing. Number 2, talk about hard capital rationing. Hard capital rationing, and we say insufficiency of funds caused by the factor beyond the control of management. So it refers to insufficiency of funds are caused by factors beyond the control of management. Beyond the control of management, i.e., you can say i.e. increase in rate of borrowing, increase in rate of borrowing, or increase in interest rate. So when the interest rate increases, the cost of borrowing also increases. Now in that case, the management cannot control the interest rate in the market. That is something that is caused by the market itself. So in that case, they cannot borrow because of the cost of borrowing. So in that case, we call it hard capital rationing. You can also talk about economic condition. We can talk about which other conditions, pandemics and the drought, all those factors, they are beyond the control. So when you have a particular pandemic and there is no money, so the insufficiency of money is caused by the factor beyond the control of the management. Number 3, talk about single capital rationing. Single capital rationing, and that one is insufficient of funds cost. Insufficient of capital during the current period. So this refers to the insufficiency of funds. Refers to the insufficiency of funds in the current period. In the current period only. Then we have multiple capital rationing, and we say insufficiency of funds in the current and in subsequent periods. So when we talk about multiple capital rationing, it's where the firm does not have insufficient amount of money in the current period and also in the future or in the subsequent period. So we call it multiple capital rationing. We call it capital rationing. Call it capital rationing. Okay, so I think we can look for a question. Let us go to our past paper and try to locate a question. So this one is also called internal generated capital rationing. Soft is also called internal. So also called internal generated capital rationing. And the other one is also called external generated capital rationing. So that one is also called external generated capital rationing. So here I think haina mambo. Let me see if I can get a question from our past paper. Yes, May 2018, question number 2C. 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 Let me see if I can get it. May 2018, question number 2C. So let us do it. Let us do it. So let me read the question. The question reads: Amani Contracts Ltd is intended to invest in 4 interdependent projects. The following information related to the project. So we have project A, B, C, D. We have the present value, cash flow, and we have the initial outlay, and also we have been given the NPV. The energy information: the company limitation is 90 million. Cost of capital is 10%. Any surplus reinvested would have a return of 14% in perpetuity. The projects are indivisible, meaning you cannot do projects unless you have enough money. So that's a limitation. So we have capital rationing. The project can be combined to achieve a greater return. So we need to do the combination of the projects. Required advice on optimal project combination. That one is correct. Now, what we do now, we start with the project. Project. Once you have the project, so this one is the project combination. Let us call it project combination. Once you have the project combination, you can have total investment. Then you need to calculate surplus, then NPV, then external NPV, and then total NPV. So that is our format. That will be our format. In that order. So we need a working for external NPV. So external NPV requires a working. Remember, we are talking about combine and combine. So we start with A. So rather, for example, we combine A plus B. That's a one combination. So remember, we need to combine at least 2 projects because I'm doing a combination. You can combine A and C, A plus C. You can also combine A plus D, You can also combine which one and which one? B and C. You can combine B plus C. You can combine B plus D. Which other project can we combine? So A plus B, A plus C, A plus D, B plus C. I think in these two, there is no any other combination because so A B, A C, A D, B C, hakuna ingine. So those are the possible combination that we can have. So that's the possible combination. So once you have located the possible combination, we can start doing the workings. Yes. Now we can start inputting figures inside. So tunaanza the first one, total investment for A and B. So cost of A and B. So tukienda kwa A, the total cost ya A ni 30, ni ya B ni 45. So 30 plus 45. So 30 plus 45, which is 75. Then A and C, 30 and 60. So 30 plus 60, which is 90. A plus A and D, 30 plus 40. 30 plus 40, which is 70. Make sure unaangalia nisiweke. B plus C, 45 plus 60. So 45 plus 60, 105. And then equal that tunatoa. This is not an optimal project. Reason why? It has exceeded our cost. Then B and D, 45 plus 40. So 45 plus 40, which is 45. Now let's go to information number 1. The total capital limitation is 90 million. So capital limitation, commercial, we cannot exceed 90 million. So we have only 90 million. Anything above 90 million, we cannot do it. So by default, we know this one cannot be undertaken. So we eliminate this project because the amount of total investment is more than 90 million. So kumaanisha we eliminate that project. We cannot do it because it exceeds our cost. But the rest of the project, we can do them. This one is supposed to be 85. This is supposed to be 85. Now let us get the surplus. Now let us get the surplus. Let us get the surplus. Now the surplus will be the difference between this one minus the initial investment. So we need 90 million here to do for the 75. So how much tabaki? What will be the surplus amount? So capital investment minus hiyo, tutabaki na ngapi tukuinvest hiyo? Tabaki na 15. Tukichuana na ya pili, the surplus will be 0. Tukienda kuna ya tatu, itakuwa ni 20. Then tukienda na ine, 90 minus 85. So tutakuwa na hiyo surplus. So those are the surplus from the investment. So una compare the initial investment. Ukumbuke we can undertake one project at a time. Sawa sawa. So tukiamua kwenda na A plus B, we need 75 million. Lakini sisi tuko na 90 million. Kumaanisha the extra is surplus. Tukiamua kufanya A and C, tutatumia 90 million or the amount itakuwa exhausted. Tukienda A na D, tutatumia 70. Kumaanisha tutakuwa na extra ya 20. So those are the surplus. Now, I think now we can get now NPV of the two projects. So we have the NPV already in our question. So the first equation, kwa swali uko juu, the NPV of A and B ni 20 plus 15. 20 plus 15. A and C, 20 plus 40. 20 plus 40. A and D, 20 plus 30. 20 plus 30. Haya. Tumefika wapi? Ya mwisho B and D. 15 plus 30. So 15 plus 30. So those are the NPV. So we can add them together. So tunasema 20 plus 15 is 35. This one is 60. This one is 50. This one is 45. That one is 45. So now once tumeshapata hivyo, we can get the external. So I told you that one requires a working. So external NPV requires a working. Now information number, that's related to information number 3. Any surplus can be reinvested to generate a return of the net cash flow of 14%. So let's see the return. So wanasema tuanze project A and B. 14% of the surplus. Surplus ni ngapi? Ni 15%. So hii itakuwa ngapi? So 0.14 times 15. That one is 2.1. So this is the cash flow. Now remember NPV in this case itakuwa ni 2.1 over the cost of capital. Remember it is up to, this one is infinity. Remember this one is infinity, kumaanisha your NPV itakuwa ni cash flow over R minus cost minus initial investment. So kumbuka that is the formula. Now our cash flow is 2.1. Our R is information number 2, 0.1 minus our initial investment. Our initial investment ndio hapa 15 shillings. 15. Tumemaliza na hiyo hivyo. Tuna number 2. A plus C. Now external NPV ni 0 kwa sababu surplus ni 0. So when the surplus is 0, external NPV is 0. Number 3, we go to A and D. A plus D itakuwa ni 14% times the surplus, which is 50. So 0.1514 times 50, which is 7. Kumaanisha our NPV itakuwa ni hiyo 7 cash flow divided by 0.1 minus our initial investment, which is 50. So 7 divided by 0.1 minus 50. Hii ni 20 kwanza. Na hili ni 2.1 divided by 0.1 minus 15. This one is 6. Then ya mwisho number 4. Number 4 ni B plus D. Ni 14% the return. The return is our cash flow of 5. So 0.14 times 5 is 0.7. So NPV 0.7 divided by 0.1 minus our investment is 5. So 0.7 divided by 0.1. 0.14 times 5 is 0.7 divided by 0.1 minus 5. 2 million. So tunakuja tunaweka hapo. Let us put the external NPV. So hii ni 6, 0, 20 na 2. 20 na 2. Then we can get now total NPV, which you add the 2. So unachukua NPV, the normal NPV, you add the external. So you take the normal. So unasema for example that 5 plus 6. So that 5 plus 6, which is 41. Itakuwa ni 60. Itakuwa ni 70. Itakuwa ni 47. Now, which one is has the most number of NPV, as the most optimal? So ametuambia you give advice. So on the best combination. So unasema the best optimal combination. The best optimal combination is project. Which one iko na mingi? Project A and C. A and C says it has the highest NPV. It has the highest NPV of Kenya shillings 60 million. I think it is in a million. That's how you are supposed to do that question. That is how you are supposed to handle that question. There is no any other thing concerning that one. So that one is not, I kuwa na mambo na capital rationing actually. There was nothing to do with capital rationing in that question. So that one was not a worry. That one was not a worry. So we can look for another question, which is for May 2016. May 2016. Question number 4D. May 2016. Question number 4D. And the question reads that Laika Ltd has identified 5 investment projects. So we have the project, we have the initial cost, and we have the NPV, as you can see. Additional information: none of the project could be delayed, so the project cannot be delayed. The amount of investment is 300 million. Therefore, the company cannot undertake all the investment. All the 5 projects are divisible. All the 5 projects are divisible. So required, advise the management of Laika on the most appropriate investment to undertake. Now, in this case, we are going to use capital rationing. So in this case, we are going to use capital rationing. Capital rationing. So the question is for which sitting? Nimevuta tena. May 2016 4D. May 2016, question number 4, dog. So project, so we have the project, and then we have the initial cost, initial outlay, then we have NPV. So project ni ngapi? A, B, C, D mpaka E. So A, B, C, D and E. This one is 120, 160, 100, 90 and 110. I hope that is correct. Then we have 24, 43.2, 43.2, we have 17.0, then we have 21.6, then we have 19.8. So niliwaambia mkiona calculationing in most cases tunatumia PI. So capital limited to how much? So information number 2. So it is limited to 300 million. They cannot exceed more than 300 million. Now in this case, because we want to pick the most viable project, we need to rank them. So we rank. So we say we used PI, which is the present value, present cash inflow of present value cash outflow. Present value cash inflow. Now we have our present value cash outflow here, but we don't have present value cash inflow. So meaning we need to come up with present value cash inflow. So we know that NPV. We know that NPV is equal to the present value cash inflow minus present value cash outflow. We want this one. Present value cash inflow is equal to NPV plus present value cash outflow. So you take NPV, you add it with the cost. So you take NPV, you add it with the cost. So tunachukua 120 plus 24, 144. 160 plus 43.2, 203.2. This one is 117. 90 plus 21.6, 111.6. 110 plus 19.8, 129.8. So let's calculate the profitability index for A, B, C, D and E. Then we rank. So tuanze na A, itakuwa ni 144 divided by 120. Aya 203 divided by the 160. 117 divided by the 100. 111.6 divided by the 90. 129.8 divided by 110. So 144 divided by 120, which is 1.20. 203.2 divided by the 160. 1.27. 117 divided by 100. 1.17. 111.6 divided by 90. 1.24. 129.8 divided by 110. 1.18. So we rank according. So the highest the PI, the better the project. So the first one in the highest. This one is rank number 1. This is the first project we need to consider. Then this one is the second one. And the third one regarding this one, number 4, of number 5. Now let us allocate. So tukishafanya hivyo, now allocation of fund. Allocation of fund. So tunasema tunaanza na project B. So remember our initial investment. Remember initial investment ni 100 million. So the 300 million. So let us allocate B. So to allocate B, what's the cost of B? So B was taken 160 million. Balance. So remember, we need to allocate according to our cost. So the balance is 140. The next project after B ilikuwa ni project D. So allocate D. D, the cost is 90 million. So we allocate 90 to get balance. So minus 90. Tabaki na 50. Aya. Tukitoka D, tunaenda project A. Project A, initial investment is 120, so we cannot undertake project A. So we cannot undertake project A because the cost is 190. Aya, so we tuna eliminate. Aya, the other projects, project C 100. So this one is a surplus. So this one will become surplus. So we can invest the surplus. So we undertake. So ametuambia the project were not divisible. Oh, assume the project. So let us start with the first item. Number one, let us assume project are indivisible. Now, if we assume the project are indivisible, then this will be the answer. Undertake project B and D only fully. Undertake project B and D only fully. Now, but if the project, number two, assume they are divisible. Assume they are divisible. Now, if you assume they are divisible, remember our initial investment was 300 million. We allocated B 160, tukabaki na ngapi? Tukabaki na balance ya 140. Then we allocated D 90, tukabaki na balance ya 50 balance. Then you allocate the next project partially. So we are going to allocate it partially. So we allocate the whole 50 so that our investment is 0. So that is project which one? The next project in project number 3. So out of 120, remember the cost was 120, we only undertake 50. So kumaanisha remaining amount of investment ni 120 minus 50. 90 to be completed later. So advice. So if we were to advise if the projects are divisible, we shall say undertake project B and D fully, and project A partially of only 50 million out of 120 million. So that is for in the case of divisible. So when it is divisible, you can do it. When it is divisible, you can do it partially. You can do it partially if you don't have enough money. So So that about abandonment, that will be our last topic to acquisition replacement. Abandonment. 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 So abandonment. It will be our last one. Then tukutana tufanye replacement later. Abandonment. So hopefully in the next 10 minutes naweza kuwa tumemaliza. So abandonment, and we say in this case the company undertake the project and determine its NPV before it reaches the end of its economic life. We start with this question. May 2019. We are going to do it haraka. May 2019. Let me find it. So May 2019, question number 5C. So the question reads, Paramaka Agribusiness is analyzing the youth empowerment project. The following information is being provided. So we have the cash flow with the abandonment value. Cost of capital is 10%. So we require advise the management of the business on optimal time to abandon the projects. So optimal time to abandon the project. So we start with the abandon. So let's start with abandon in year one. Now if you abandon in year one, then tutasema hivi. Let me see. So if we abandon it in year one, so abandon in year one itakuwa ni tunasema period. So year 0 and year 1. So we are going to abandon it in year 1. Then if we abandon it in year 2, abandon in year 2. In year 2, then period itakuwa ni 0, 1 and 2. Then you get the NPV chini yake, NPV. Then ujue historia yetu iko na hadi year 4. So kumbuke abandoned in year 3 itakuwa ni 0, 1, 2, 3 na NPV. Then we can abandon in year 4. Abandon in year 4 itakuwa ni 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then our NPV. So you abandon at the point where NPV is highest. So you only abandon at point where the NPV is highest. So it in year 1. The cost is 1 million. So remember the cost of investment is 16 million. So our cost is 16 million. So this one is cash flows. Then present value interest factor 10%. So for year 0 inakuanga ni 1. Then you can get the present value, which is minus 16. Year 1 ni 8 and 12. So 8 plus 12. 8 plus 12, which is 20. We multiply with our present value for that figure is unaenda kwa table 1991. So 20 times 1991 napatia 18.182, so that you get the NPV. So NPV ukichukua minus 16 plus this one itakuwa ni 2.182. So that's the NPV if we abandon that project in year 1. If we abandon it in year 2, then this will be the cash flow 16. Present value is factor in 1. The cost is 16. Year 1 you take only the cash flow. So in year 1 wakati you are not abandoning. So tukiabandon in year 2 kumaanisha we are not going to abandon in year 1. Kumaanisha year 1 we take the cash flow without the abandonment value, which is 8 only. Which is 8. Then 0.9091. But for year 2 itakuwa ni 6 plus 8. Acha nisongeshe hapo. Hii ilikuwa ngapi? So inakuwa 8, inakuja 14. So 8, 14. Our cash flow ni 82, 64. Ukumbuka wakati wa abandonment. So remember wakati we are not abandoning. So year 1 you are not abandoning, unachukua the cash flow venye iko 8 without the abandonment value. But in year 2 we are abandoning, we are going to assume we are abandoning it at year 2. So you take the cash flow with the abandonment value. So 6 plus 8, 14. Then you get the figures. Hii itakuwa ni 7.2, 728, 11.5696. Kumaanisha wa NPV ni ngapi? 2.8424. Agenda ya 3 kama kawaida 16, 1, that one is 16. Ya 1 tunachukua 8 peke yake. Ya 3 we need to pick the two item 5 plus 6, which inatupatia 11 when you add the two. So kama kawaida ni 0.9091, nyingine 0. Kuna kitu nimeruka hapa. So 8 hiyo ni ya 1. Afu ya 2 ni 6 peke yake. 6 0.82 64. Then huyu ni mwingine 11, 0.75 13. Inatupatia 7.2728, 4.9 584, 8.2 643. Then when you add it, so our NPV ni 4.4955. That's our NPV. So after the mwisho 16, 8, 6, 5, and then year 4 ilikuwa tuna 4 peke yake as our value. So hiyo ni kama kawaida ni 1, 0.9091, 0.8264, 0.7513, then 0.6830. So kumaanisha hapa itakuwa ngapi? Hii itakuwa ni 16 minus 16, 7.2, 728, 4.9, 584, 3.7, 565, 2.7, 320. So our NPV ni 2.7, 197. 197. So which period do you think we should abandon? Now according to the question, the best period to abandon is year 3. So abandon in year 3. So advice, abandon in year 3 since it has the highest NPV. The highest NPV. That's correct. And then we can also add another one. We can also add another one, and that one is for December 2024. December 2024, question number 1B. December 2024, question number 1B. So December 2024, question number 1B. So let me see. So that will be your assignment. Actually, in the somehow similar assignment. So we are remaining with one item, which it will be available by today usiku, which is replacement analysis. So that will be available by today evening. So that one will be available by today evening. By today evening.